Hello everyone, my name is Chris Pullum, Assistant Director of Campus Recreation and Head Esports here at Carroll University. For Call of Duty Academy team, the whole goal of Academy is really to develop future talent and to kind of develop more than just the game things, the communication skills, how we work as a team. So if we need to plug and place folks, we can do that with ease. And so I think the Academy team was such a great addition, especially in Call of Duty where you can't really substitute players very frequently. I think it was very important for us to develop that pipeline, especially with 3 seniors with the main team. And they picked up very quickly. They were receptive to the feedback we gave them. Unfortunately, they weren't able to have like a normal schedule of like scrimmages and practices the way we would have hoped, but a lot of promise in that group and hoping to continue to grow that group in the future. And in terms of their results, I don't think you can really ask for more. A lot of them picked up the game within a week. They were playing matches. So really great growth out of that group. They were able to pick up some key wins, see what it was like to work as a team. But we've got a lot of work to do, to be quite frank. I'm very excited with the addition of potentially some more coaching support to dedicate more time to Academy and Main, so that they're able to kind of pick up on certain things that are for them versus getting the kind of generic things across the board. So great results from them, looking to build and grow next season in their main CCL season. For our main team for Call of Duty, obviously this is their second season, starting off in the spring, and so a lot of positives and growth what we saw in the spring. We're trying to carry that over after a delay in the summer. We're playing the same game as we were in the spring while a new game comes out. So a lot of different complicated factors. But I thought the team stuck together in terms of the vibes were very, very high. The growth was not as much as I would have liked, but there was not much that we could do about that lack of being able to scrimmage. Same thing as an Academy team. So very high hopes, very high standards going into the spring. We got 3 seniors on the roster. So we've kind of be able to be focused and maintain a high level from day one, which we have a good foundation to do. Just looking forward to getting into those scrimmages and practices to really key in on the things that we want to do to improve. And hopefully we can get off to a quicker start than we did last year in the spring and kind of secure better seating for playoffs. Yeah, for coaching, I really just enjoy the vibe. That's the best way I can put it, especially for a team like Call of Duty. The ability to kind of get on each other in a constructive way while still having fun with it is one that is very unique in esports. A lot of times it's kind of like very targeted kind of things. And so it's important for us to kind of keep it light while still being constructive to each other. And hopefully that builds and grows in the future and we can continue to dissect deeper and kind of focus and lock in a little bit more because I think we have a lot of potential to be a really slept on, underrated team and take a lot of teams by storm next semester. Yeah, our Overwatch team this spring or fall, coming off of a championship in the spring, very high hopes, retained a lot of those players with the exception of a few. Added in Coach Anthony to kind of help structure us a little bit more in terms of practices and games. And so very high hopes, the hopes of repeating and as well just kind of developing up the younger students because just like some other teams that we have, we'll be losing a lot of seniors at the end of the year. So very important for us to start strong and maintain a good culture. And that's exactly what we did. We were able to start and have a undefeated regular season up to a certain point, hadn't even lost a map. And so the success there was very, very important, I think, for building the confidence of the team. Obviously, Overwatch 2 just came out, and so it was kind of like a fast track of how quickly can we learn the new meta, how quickly can we figure out what our composition is going to be in a lot of these matches, and we were able to do that very, very effectively, and I credit that a lot to the leaders on the team, Sam, Jake, Grim, of course, Space, folks like that were just able to kind of bring the team together very quickly. In terms of like the playoffs, had a first round bye, which actually could have potentially hurt us. Not having that ability to kind of get a warm up, I wouldn't say warm up, it's not a free win, but kind of get that first playoff game under our belt, work on some things that may have adjusted. And so with that forfeit, we go into our next match and had to reverse sweep that team, which obviously is great. You win, you'll take the win where you get it. But I think that was the first time the team may have seen a little bit of like, oh, we aren't, invincible. We can lose. We can be tested. And so I think the focus going into the championship game might have been a little bit altered. There might have been a sense of unsure about the things that we wanted to do. And it was very evident in that game. We were humbled for sure in that match, which is sometimes a blessing because you want to be able to learn lessons throughout the process. And a lot of times with winning, it masks that quite a bit. You kind of overlook things that you're not doing correctly. You kind of just start coasting. Your practices can be lackluster. Your preparation for games is not focused and locked in. You just sometimes need those types of experiences to refocus your brain and your energies into the right areas. So we'll take our beating there, refocus and retool for the spring. We're gonna have a potentially different looking roster. Some people going out, some people coming in, some people stepping away from the team potentially for portions of it, which is totally the right call for them. So it'll be another adjustment period. Coaching will be remote from a study abroad type of factor in there. So it'll be definitely a learning experience for the team. A lot of seniors, so it'll be very similar to some other teams where they want to put their best foot forward and compete for a championship. And I think they have the ability to do that for sure. But it just starts with the teamwork, communication being at a high level. And the vibes are amazing in terms of friendship and things, but how can we take that next level of like, okay, we're all friends. How can we kind of lock in and listen to our coach, listen to our captain, and really have a focus structure? And that'll really benefit our team going forward. And I'm really excited to see if they're able to, pull through into the championship and then potentially go on to the NECC Nationals to compete for a championship as well. Yeah, touching on Valorant, inaugural season for this team and an inaugural season for a lot of the players on the team as well. So definitely a lot of growth to be had in that area. Had some early success when we had tryouts. I remember watching it from home via Discord. I was like, we might be dominant. We're going to be a really, really good team. But there's a difference between a lot of individual skill and playing as a team. And so I think as the students begin to learn, a lot of incoming freshmen in their first semester, how to balance time and practices and priorities, we can kind of see where there are some struggles for our team. And so I think we are just one or two steps away from really being that top level team. The players are putting in the work. There's no lack of dedication for the team. Our coaching is amazing, and I'll touch on that in a second, but we're really looking forward to seeing how their second season goes after students have gotten some time under their belt as a team, as players, as students, and just really continuing to develop that. And maybe potentially having like a more tighter knit team, maybe a smaller roster size might benefit from that as well. So yeah, I mean, not a bad season by any means. I would have obviously liked to go further, do better. But I think that there's a lot of good that we can draw out of that. And looking forward to continue to build off that into the spring. As for the coaching led by Tyler, outstanding job. What can I say about Tyler? Tyler is like the prime example of a dual sport, dual multi-talented person. Phenomenal coach for Valorant. Couldn't have asked for a better coach there. Every time I sat in on their practices, very structured, had his notes ready, prepared, getting the team focused on the right areas, being able to play in multiple other titles at a very high level while still coaching, being a leader in the community, doing things, making life decisions in terms of career and education. It's just outstanding. I can't speak enough about Tyler and his impact on the program and of course the Valorant team in their first season. So looking forward to seeing him grow continually as a coach, the team as a collective group as well. And I think the sky's the limit for them. And as long as they continue to trust each other and grow, it's really potentially scary hours for teams that we'll be facing off in the spring. But we got to put in the work, and we'll see how that turns out in the spring. Yeah, for League of Legends, fairly new team. We have 4 new players on the roster of the 5, 3 of them being incoming freshman students. So It was definitely a learning and growing experience, and so our focus wasn't on necessarily our record. It was about communication, um, team building, really growing. And Sarah did a great job of organizing that team and kind of trying to help bridge the gap of communication and not knowing each other coming in, just trying to grow that as quickly as we can. And our first year coach, Mark, came in and did a phenomenal job of just trying to keep the main thing, and just focus on what things we can do in game, what our mistakes were, analyzing it from that level rather than trying to kind of get in the weeds of we can do this, we can try this. No, what can we do to control the things that we are attempting to do? And so I think he did a great job in doing that. And so um, looking forward to seeing the growth as we go forward. Once again, we have a younger team, so the benefit of that is we'll potentially be able to retain more students going forward in the future. And yeah, just continue to do that team building, make decisions in the moment that the entire team knows that we're trying to do, because that's what we've talked about in practices. That's what we're trying to do. And not so much second guess when they were in games. If it's like, should we do this? Should we do that? Can I do this? Are you okay with that doing that? It's kind of like that second nature of this. I trust you, make the decision, communicate it with us effectively. And we kind of live with the result there. So super excited, as I am with all our teams, to continue to see where they're able to take it, and Coach Mark, see how he's able to kind of put his own spin on it, and kind of send off Sarah in her final season. So for Rocket League, we have two teams. We have our A team and B team. Our A team was unfortunately not competing in a full season in the fall. Um, they were attempting to try out for what is called the CCA, College Carball Association, which is essentially all the best teams. There's a ton of teams that attempt to try out for this league, and unfortunately, our team did not qualify for that. So they'll be returning in the spring for the NECC and looking to make some noise. Have a talented crew of folks, with our standout freshman Justin, as well as our returning captain Jacob being there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly they can kind of knock off the dust of not having a full season and being able to compete at a high level right away against some of these top teams in the region. Carthage, got the Redbird down in Illinois, I think UW schools and such, trying to compete at a high level right away. Should be fun to watch, so keep that on your radar. We've got a potentially really strong team. For our B team, they did compete in the NECC against some very strong teams for their division, if I'm being quite frank. And so the success in the record was not as strong as we had anticipated it being. And I think one of the areas where we can definitely see areas or needs for growth is in the communication piece. It's tough when you're playing a really strong team, and especially in Rocket League, you can see the skill level gap very apparently in those games. And so when you go into those matches, how can you be able to still have high levels of communication and trust and confidence that you can still compete? It can be a struggle at times. And so continuing to develop that, like, hey guys, regain, we can still win this, we're in this, do what we were working on at practice. This is a opportunity to get better. Those types of thoughts, mentalities, is really, I think, a key that we want to focus on for that B roster going into the spring. But nonetheless, I think that they have the ability to be a good team, a good roster. They're a good collection of folks. And so it's just going to be putting it together, having that A team to be able to push them a little bit harder when they see their matches and games and practices and such. And so once again, exciting times. Looking forward to seeing them compete at the NECC and see if we can make some noise. All right, for Smash, we have two rosters. Our varsity, JV, our A and B, however you want to structure it that way. To start off with our varsity team, I thought they did pretty good. They coming from the ECAC, they actually switched over to the NECC and competed at a pretty solid level. They were able to host an in-person event against Lakeland, and they were able to take that in dramatic fashion. I think it was very exciting to see the growth of the team in terms of not in terms of the gameplay, but in terms of the community. The coaches, Anthony, Dan, amazing job at keeping a very good structure in terms of reviewing film, working on combinations, giving them a practice plan. Some of the highest level coaching I've seen, especially when it comes to video games. Um, and being able to bring that to both of our teams to give them things to work on, I think has really benefited them. Um, and so continue to be a challenge, and we'll talk about that in a second, but really looking forward to how we're able to continue to build as a program. Our JV team definitely struggled in the record department, but it goes back to that community family feel of like them feeling included in the process of learning and growing. And it's very important, just like with Call of Duty and that academy team, mentioning being able to develop that pipeline so that we can pull people that are developing properly up to that varsity spot and kind of not miss a beat there. So very strong coaching there, very structured team, great captains, Emily and Andrew. Can't say enough about Andrew. He was the 2021-22 most valuable player for all of our esports, and he proved why this semester, coming out on top as the champion for the NECC solos in his division. And I mean, what can you say about it? He is one of the most talented players I've ever seen in any video game ever. I remember my first ever day watching games was a Smash game when I started coaching last year, and I literally was texting my friends like, this guy Andrew is crazy. I literally was texting my friends like, tune into the stream because he is insane. He's like 9 stocking. It was crazy. And he puts in the work, he's dedicated. He's just a good guy. Like he does things the right way, he communicates properly. He doesn't yell at folks, he doesn't talk down on people. He's just an example of what it is to be a Carroll Esports athlete. And we're just super proud of him, super happy that he's able to graduate and move on to the next phase of what he is doing. And so congratulations to him, super proud of him, super happy for the Smash team. But obviously we got to fill the void in that dominant min player, and trying to go on with people like Alex and really try to develop the team there. Plenty of great talent from the JV team that potentially be pulled up as well. So looking forward to that, seeing how Dan and Anthony are able to kind of adjust and retool and focus up. And yeah, I'm just really excited for the future of the Smash team. Madden, man, what can you say about Madden? This is our only sports title that we are currently offering, but obviously hoping to add to that. But yeah, Madden is such an interesting title. Our players are definitely passionate about what they do there and how they are able to approach games each and every week. It's just a tough one, man. I kind of feel for the players because you can prepare for one thing and you see a completely different thing from your opponent. And so pretty successful season across the board. We had our teams across the board qualified for playoffs. And so it's just, how can we take that next leap against these players that are like semi-pro professional level players? And I think it starts with a great captain. Jacobs has done a great job of kind of trying to galvanize the troops and get everyone on the same page of how they should develop plays and adjust their playbooks and things like that. So there's not a ton of things that you can necessarily do for Madden other than play the game. And so trying to get them to play more games, have more competitive looks is going to be key, and just continue to have the good vibes of the Madden folks. Looking to add to that roster as well. Get maybe some of these football players from that were competing in the fall, try to get them in to play and compete in the spring. It's an exciting challenge for me, but I think it's something that's very doable. And looking into the spring, just continue to compete on that high level. Looking forward to a little bit more in the future, hoping that EA actually enables that cross-play going into 24, because that would be key for our community to merge and not divide our player base and competitive base. And so just really excited, really happy with the progress they made. I think in the past it was a little bit harder to find out that niche for our Madden folks. And so hopefully we continue to grow in that area, and excited to continue to grow, potentially adding a coach for our sports games going in the future. But yeah, just can't speak enough about all the folks in the program. In general, I mean, if you see where we were a year ago, nothing necessarily bad, but just I think the structure and the things that we're trying to do here at Carroll is very unique to what we do in our space. I think it's kind of like the Carroll way. It's not a club, it's not casual, but there is a feel of family and ownership from the students to be able to make decisions. And I do that very intentionally, give them responsibilities. They have decisions that they make, empowering them to fail. And if they do something that as a team, they try something and it doesn't work, we adjust and we make those adjustments. And I think that's really what's unique and sets us apart from other esports departments, esports areas around in the state. There are definitely benefits from being here at Carroll. I see it as a coach. I'm sure our players see it. And we want to just continue to grow, be a leader in the field in our own way. And that is just, you're a student first. You're here to get your degree. But if you want to compete, we're gonna put you in situations that you'll be tested. We'll hold you accountable. We'll provide you with structure and the tools to be successful in the space. But at the same time, you're gonna have the time of your life. It's gonna be super fun. You're gonna play video games, which is a dream of a lot of people. And so just really blessed to be in this space. Our students are awesome. They're amazing. We're continuing to try to push them and continue to try to grow and diversify and do all the things that we need to be doing in the future. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you if you watched this far. Please, I don't know what I want to say at this piece. You can keep it rolling though. I don't know, it's gonna be more like it's gonna be everywhere. Keep tuning into what we're doing here on our social media platforms. If you're interested in anything about esports, you can shoot us a DM, you can shoot us an email. You can stop by campus and set up a meeting. We would love to show you what we're doing. And then for our current students, we appreciate you. My job wouldn't be possible without you. What we do at Carroll wouldn't be a beacon of light to the community as it is. And looking forward to continue to push and grow. And we're not stopping. We're going to continue to push the envelope and be just, we're going to be that guy. That guy. That guy. If you know, you know. Where's the mic drop?